What's good, YouTube? It's your boy JusticeXFalls. We back at it again with another video, and we're looking at the DualSense Edge first hands-on. Now, this, to my knowledge, is, well, for me, only the second video I've seen of somebody actually having the controller in their hands. It launches in February. I think it starts shipping in January. I ordered one already. I got it pre-ordered, and I ordered the PSP, the PSVR 2. So there will be videos on that coming in the new year. A lot of videos. Actually, I got a lot of stuff that I've been waiting on shipping in. Like, it's just shipping in soon. So be on the lookout for all of that. We're gonna be doing a lot more tech reviews and stuff coming up. But this one's about the DualSense Edge. IGN got a hands on. There's another guy called Your Average Consumer. He got a hands on with that. We might take another look at that. But for now, we're gonna take a look at the IGN one. So without further ado, let's get to the video.
Hey everybody, Jada Griffin here, Community Lead. We're at Sony headquarters checking out the new DualSense Edge. All the new features that they've shown off in the trailers and on their website, it's got what we hoped for. The customizable profiles for different games, all the button mappings, everything you think this controller can do, it probably can.
They should have been to this. Like, it was no brainer.
The DualSense Edge is the new premium version of the DualSense controller for the PS5, offering advanced customization options and a variety of new features. With the ability to adjust button layouts, sensitivity settings, and even haptic feedback and adaptive triggers, the DualSense Edge allows players to tailor the controller to their specific playstyle. It also has new function buttons, back buttons, and the ability to store and quickly switch between multiple controller profiles. The DualSense Edge has a fancy new touchpad that features a repeated pattern of face buttons. There are new function buttons below the analog sticks, which are used to reprogram buttons on the fly, and around back, there's a pair of new switches next to the triggers, which let you adjust the minimum and maximum range for pulling the triggers. Its textured grips are a welcome improvement over the current DualSense offerings, and you can easily swap out the thumbstick caps with any of the 6 included in the box. Or, with the flip of a few switches, remove and replace the analog stick modules as a whole.
Modular.
Arguably, the biggest selling point of the controller is the 2 slots on the back, which allow you to insert any combination of the 4 back buttons included. Everything in the package adds up to what many want in a premium controller. Connecting the DualSense Edge adds a new menu to the PS5 settings section where you can customize the controller's inputs. You can disable or double up on button inputs, swap almost any input to another, and adjust dead zones and sensitivities. An on-screen image mirrors your inputs, giving you an easy-to-understand visual representation of what you're doing on the controller and how it will affect the output. This made it extremely easy to make minor or major adjustments and immediately understand how it would affect my actions in-game. The DualSense Edge can store 3 customizable and 1 standard profile on the controller itself, giving you access to them no matter where you are, even if you connect to a different PS5. Profiles can be swapped mid-game by pressing the new function buttons along with the corresponding face button. This enables you to map different control schemes to different profile slots for any game you play, giving you the flexibility to adjust your settings on the fly. You can even store up to 30 controller profiles per PSN account on your PS5 and slot them into the 3 customizable locations as you see fit. Being able to instantly swap the sensitivity of my controller based on whatever weapon I end up with likely won't match the precision of a mouse and keyboard on a PC, but it definitely has the potential to help shrink the gap. The DualSense...
Yeah, like, that's what I was going to say. Like, you know, these Pro controllers are not really like a replacement for meant to be superior for mouse and keyboard. It's meant to bring you closer to a mouse and keyboard experience where you have complete control and dexterity over the controller in relation to what's going on in the game.
Edge is slightly heavier than the baseline controller, but it's balanced quite well, moving most of the weight to its center so it's hardly noticeable. The new function buttons are easily accessible without obstructing your standard inputs, and give customization I've never had before in a controller. The controller's new back button options are also likely to be popular, as they give you access to 2 additional inputs for games that require a lot of inputs, or controls that you want to access without having to take your thumb off the analog stick. You can use them to mirror another button, giving you 2 options for that designated input, or unbind another button in favor of using the back button for its input. The buttons felt solid during my hands-on time, and they were sturdy enough to be used for various button mashing events in God of War Ragnarok. The only thing I was a bit put off by was the thin casing covering the analog sticks, which has a glossy finish that felt a bit cheaper compared to the other parts. But that is a small cost in exchange for the ability to easily swap out the analog sticks should they ever begin to suffer from drift.
And all that is like, when you're making a massively produced product, you want to keep it at a certain price point, you have to cut corners somewhere. Some of you know this already, some of you don't. So I'm just mentioning it. Like when you have these products that are you're making hundreds of thousands, if not millions of product, you're mass producing the product, you have to cut some corners somewhere in order to get the cost at a point where you can make a profit when you sell it. So that's when this thing comes out, because I definitely forgot. Shoot. DualSense Edge launch date. Hold on. January 26th. Okay. January 26th is when this controller comes out. So let me see. Can you still get it? Can you still buy it? Oh yeah, you just outright buy it. I pre-ordered it, but I figured it'd be sold out when it hit the market, but it definitely did not. Okay. So you can still get it now. As you can see, I just added it to my cart. No problem. It comes with, the same thing that the Xbox Elite Series 1 and 2 comes with. Like if you look in there, you can see it's the same vibe. It's the same setup. Like when I get mine, we're going to be definitely doing a side-by-side comparison. So I can't wait for that video to come out. Well, I can't wait to make that video and put it out there for y'all. And then I'll quickly mention the PSP VR 2. Let me see if you can still look like you can still pre-order it. When the preview page that I got, it didn't let me pick this bundle. It only let me pick this. So I'm gonna have to buy the Call to the Mountain Horizon separate, and Firewall Ultra have to get that separate. But that's fine. I make money. I'm not worried about that. So, yeah, but I also wanted to check out what you call it, your average consumer, because that's the guy's videos I watch a lot. Those seem to be the only two people that have videos out right now. Because it seems like Sony just invited a bunch of media and content creators down to the headquarters to show off this controller. Wow, this guy doesn't like the controller. He says don't buy it. Scuff already has one out. Scuff is a long time creator of pro controllers for consoles, Xbox and PlayStation included. So we're gonna check out a little bit of the average consumer's video as well. I don't want to make this video too long, so we're gonna just kind of skim through it a little bit.
But we were there for something special. We got some hands-on time, you guys, with the brand new DualSense Edge wireless controller. And I got a lot to talk about.
See that?
Not only did we get a chance to check out the controller, we also got to speak to the lead product manager of the DualSense Edge controller,
got an interview too.
Mizuno-san. Got a little interview with him at the end of this video. But now, let's talk about the controller. First of all, you get this hard shell carrying case, which I will say felt really premium in the hand. It's super smooth on the outside, on the white portions. It's got a nice zipper. Once you pop it open, that's when you get access to, of course, the controller and the extra accessories. So what do you get inside of here, right? Well, you get two half-dome back buttons, which I'm a huge fan of. We'll talk about that a little bit more later. And of course, the two lever-style back buttons.
Realistically, I don't even use that on mine. Like you can see my joint. I don't even use the paddles. To me, they get in the way. They get in the way. Like the way I hold the controller, you see my hands are so big, I'll automatically end up pressing I was playing 2K and I tapped the paddle by mistake because I was trying to do some crossovers and I end up shooting a shot from like half court, like because it's smaller, they're more smaller, so my fingers won't get in the way as much. But I don't know, we'll see.
We've seen those kinds before, as well as a variety of dome thumbsticks with different heights, and even a USB.
Introducing Spectrum Business Connect with.
I hope that Bing Bong was my packages.
I believe this is for plugging in your USB cable to the controller and making sure it stays in place.
I like that.
It's the worst thing in the world if you're playing wired, your cable comes out, and then it says controller disconnected for a second. So this completely eliminates any worry about that. It locks it into the DualSense Edge controller, which I think is pretty cool if you're super serious about your gaming. Maybe if you're in esports, that's definitely.
Yeah, if you're like most esports guys, like and girls, they want a wired controller because there's absolutely no chance of latency. Because anytime you deal with a wireless connection or Bluetooth connection, there's gonna be latency issues. So you don't want to have any disadvantages when you're playing like a fighting game or anything, things of that nature. I learned that the hard way playing Street Fighter 6 beta. Like I have a pro controller, but it wasn't plugged in, and I was getting my ass handed to me. And I'm not terrible at fighters. I'm pretty good at fighters. Like, so I had to plug it in, and I started doing a little better.
Definitely going to be helpful. Then of course up top you get a long braided USB cable, which is USB A to C. Now what's also cool about this case is you could pop off this flap in the back,
you could charge
and you can run your USB cable directly into your controller.
You could do the same thing with the Xbox. I'm telling you, they really. I told y'all like a long time ago when I bought this controller, like that Sony needs to just copy this model and do their own pro controller. Because look, there's a pass through here so that you can connect it, so that you can put it, you can charge it here. Then there's like a charging brick right here. In here, there's a charging brick in here. Like I've been told, like Sony must look at my videos.
If you want to charge it while it's still inside the controller. And last but not least, you might have noticed that there's a little cutout in the center of the case, which is empty, but you can actually get replacement sticks for your controller. You can have your backup brand new one sitting right in the middle, ready to go. So that's everything you get when you actually pick it up. But now let's talk about the controller. So when I went into this, I was expecting a really heavy controller. I thought it was gonna include a bit more metal, or it was just gonna be super hefty. It's actually not. It feels extremely similar to the current DualSense controller, but of course, with all the cool add-ons. Now, the first thing you might notice right away is that the white one's probably gonna be better, so you can see the differences here. Now, the first thing you might notice right away is that instead of a white trackpad, we now have a black one, and this trackpad has all of the PlayStation symbols embedded all over it. So it's a nice little touch.
That's cute.
You can feel like small ridges. Like it's not like rough or anything, it's very subtle. It's extremely subtle. But not only did they change the color of the trackpad, but they also changed the color of the buttons. The buttons are now blacked out, unlike the previous version which has those clear transparent buttons. Those are also now black. They even added the PlayStation symbols to the triggers. So the R2,
extra
L2,
grip and
they got
style.
nice ridges on there as well, which I personally really like.
Okay, now we're gonna skip ahead to the interview.
And what you guys can expect once you get your hands on it.
All
right, guys, and now we have something really special. We've got our special guest over here, Mizuno-san from PlayStation.
Mizuno-san.
He's the lead product manager of the DualSense Edge wireless controller. So I just got to pick your brain, man.
Okay.
What was the inspiration behind this? Why did you guys decide now's the time to make this controller?
Because Xbox has one.
We started looking
We should have been made one a long time ago.
to this idea to make the high performance controller back in 2018. We have done like a direct interview toward esports players. They were actually not satisfied with their current high performance controller. Especially like esports players, they are athletes. It's like a shoes of a basketball player or like a racket of a tennis player. You know?
That makes sense.
The basic ergonomics was totally important. They loved actually DualSense ergonomics. So we really wanted to keep the same ergonomics. Additionally, they said that they don't want to have like additional buttons all over the place because it will lead to accidental presses.
Wasn't I just talking about that? I was just talking about that. Like having all of these crazy extra buttons on the side is gonna eventually you're gonna accidentally tap one of them.
To have those kind of multiple function, but minimize the buttons. So we had this idea to have a function button in the bottom.
I think that's really cool that you mentioned that, because while I've been playing with it so far, being able to jump into those menus without really having to dive deep into like just the regular PlayStation settings has been really quick and seamless. And even with the addition of these, usually the paddles in the back, some people don't like them because they accidentally press them. It takes some getting used to. With these new ones here, you can just kind of hold it in your hand. There's no even these, nothing here is going to get in the way of your gameplay. So this is definitely geared towards like folks who want the best performance, esports obviously in mind. How do you see this changing just like the average person's gameplay? Do you feel like even they can benefit from something like this?
Every user who wants to be stronger or like wants to have a controller that can personalize depending on their game style or depending on their game genre, this controller definitely gives value to them. And we are confident that every single feature that is in this controller will benefit those kind of users who wants to be stronger.
Well,
right.
Sumo-san, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Guys, this is wild.
Right.
But it's coming soon. But that about wraps up.
Yeah, so you can see, this controller is it's been in the making for a while. They've spoken to various esports gamers and things of that nature, and I think you can't go wrong with a controller like this. If it's anything like the Xbox One, it's going to be your daily controller. You're not going to switch from that controller. Even when your friends come over, you're not going to want to give up that controller. You want to give them another controller, because that's how I feel about this Xbox One. So I think Sony has just as much, if not the same amount of quality control and quality assurance. Definitely have the resources to make such a controller, and I think this controller is gonna be dope. We're gonna have a video coming out when I get it. It launches January 26th. Hopefully, I get it the day of, or maybe a day before. But we'll see. But let me know what y'all think. Y'all copying this controller? It's $200. You can pre-order it now, or you can wait till it comes out. Either or. So, y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments. So, y'all already know the vibes. Like, comment, subscribe, all of that good stuff. This is your boy JusticeXFalls, and we are out. One.